Velvet Jones. My mind on my money, money on my mind, but you's a hell of a distraction.
Please tell me your next, Luda, please tell me your next album you're gonna have the baby on there, because I've interviewed the baby, and it's obvious like you're one of his influences, but he even stated like he looked up to you and his style. He don't mind being a little different, and you did back then. So is that somebody you fucking with, like you working with, like?
Man, I'm inspired by the baby, man. I would love to work with him. Definitely. I mean, you put it in the atmosphere, so shit, we gotta try and make it happen for sure.
I mean, he said it in the interview. He was like, when he was in NC, I mean, you were one of his influences. He had two other artists, which I can't remember at the moment. But it's funny because I don't know if you and Busta was around at that same time, but were you influenced by Busta by being different, or?
Man, listen. 100%, and it was just Busta's birthday the other day, and I made a whole post just dedicating, of course, that he was not only an influence to me, but people like to give me credit for all my wild and crazy videos. They better understand Busta was doing that before me. Missy was doing it before me. Man, I gotta give praises where praises are 100% due. You gotta be. We all inspired by something. So happy birthday to Busta Rhymes, man. Of course, shout out to the baby, man. Listen, it's all about giving the people what they want. It's about getting through these times. It's about, making memories that's going to last a lifetime, and having, art is all about reflecting the time. So we got to make music at this point that's going to take you back to certain, points in your life and memories that you had when these songs were playing. And that's what I thought was so powerful about some of these records when we just did the verses the other night. You don't know how your records are going to age until you go all the way 10, 20 years in the future, and then somebody could tell you how the hell your records have aged. So it's just a beautiful thing, man. I'm at the best point in my life.
I love that versus thing because it's like nobody really loses, because at the end of the day, it's like they bring back like what you've done, like all the hits, like all the kids get up to date, like you got mad new fans now. You're kind of like remixed because of that versus thing. Whether you beat Nelly or not, Nelly had hits too, but obviously you won, but I feel like that's like the best thing out there. Like,
it is, man.
I got little white kids like bumping your shit, like I got hoes. I was like, what?
You just said it, bro. That shit literally reignited, both catalogs, and whoever does the verses, obviously you see all these DSPs making playlists, like not even 5 minutes after the shit is over. So it's just like everybody, all the people that listen to the music during that time frame, getting introduced to new kids. It's just one of those things that, man, like you said, it ain't no losers, man. We all win. The hip hop wins.
Yeah, but what was going on in your head when you saw you won, though?
Man, I feel like, by the way, I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of saw a lot of different opinions, man, and I've never been one to really love being back into the, how can I say, like, loving hearing just different opinions, because everybody's opinion is different, by the way. So when people had their own scores and different shit like that going on, it was like, you just love to hear the reasoning behind certain answers or conclusions that people come to and how they came to those conclusions. So to answer your question, bro, it's like the conversations alone are just very interesting to look at. When I know what my perspective was, but to see other people's perspective, some people's perspective was crazier than mine on one scale, and then it might have been on another side of the scale. But I'm just loving fucking hip hop and loving conversations that people have all the time.
50 Cent had In the Club. Was like your ultimate out of space smash, or what? Like it was overwhelming when it first came out? Like it was uncontrollable, like you and Usher and Lil Jon?
Man, is on, I think, the top 100. It's number 14 on the top 100 Billboard songs of all fucking times, man.
How many times did you go to Dubai with that song, or anywhere?
Like, and I've been to Dubai a couple times, but I'll tell you this. That song definitely, let's just say during times of quarantine where you get mailbox money, that's one of the songs that's keeping me all the way right inside of my household. Let's just put it that way. Let's put it that way, bro.
Did that song bring you somewhere that was unbelievable. Like you're in front of let's say like our music got us to meet Nelson Mandela, or we hung out with like Prime Minister Blair. You know, like we hung out with Gaddafi, like terrorists and shit like that. Like what did Ye bring you to that you've never like told anyone? Like you're like, oh shit, I'm really in front of this person right now. What is going on?
That shit brought me to probably certain countries that I never thought that just as Ludacris I may have gone to. Like, we was in some part of Brazil somewhere, and I was like, if I wasn't a part of this record, I don't know if Ludacris would have done a tour and made a stop at this particular country. So his shit was taking you places that you didn't even think that you might be, bro. Like, seriously. Man, the catalog and having that as part of my resume is one of the most beautiful things in the world.
And you have a lot of classic dudes you work with. Nate Dogg, R.I.P. Man, like I heard there's like some secret, there's like some other records that never came out. And you know me, I'm the leaker, so I'm trying to trick his studio. Because I know y'all did songs for each other. You know what I'm saying? So
the crazy shit is the artist that I did the most songs with just consistently. Nate Dogg's probably number one, believe it or not. And then and then I want to say Sierra. Me and Sierra have had a lot of records together. That's why I had to pay homage to her as well. So, you know, when I say that was one of my favorite verses on the O song, I mean it. I love that shit. Love that shit, man. And let me just say, Kid, man, you've been a firm Ludacris supporter since day one, man. I appreciate you, bro. I mean, I don't know if I've ever really told you that shit, but every single time I drop something, you always supporting it. And shout out to Waka Flocka, who is another supporter, man. I just want to make sure I get the love back that y'all always give to me. And what's crazy is motherfuckers have these conversations and, you know, Ludacris' name pops up in these lists and things of that nature. And sometimes people have to argue my name. But after this versus shit, when people were able to hear things collectively for 2 hours straight and more, it's like those arguments are getting a little easier around this motherfucker. I love it, bro. I love it. The conversations, they're not having to argue as much. You know, people are starting to give it up. I've heard a lot of people say that shit too, man.
I mean, I was fortunate to even tour with you, so I understand, like, there's a dynamic of being a DJ and like loving your music, growing up with your music, but it's just fortunate that I tour with you so I could see the interaction. So that's how I even know how to really, really DJ, like, clubs, because I'm just fortunate to just been at like mad people's shows or I tour with them and I know how to play a record, you know, like it doesn't matter what country you're in because your music is kind of like universal. Like there's no language barrier.
Yeah.
I Got Hoes is like number one in any country. There's hoes everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like I Got Hoes.
I feel like we've toured a couple times though, but you're talking about you talking about when we was on the 50 tour?
Yeah, we were on the 50. Yo, that was crazy, dog.
So funny story. We at the last minute we started touring with 50, so we didn't have our whole stage play set up. So a lot of people don't know this shit. But I wasn't able to get my stage set up until like the 5th show or some shit like this. So this nigga 50 had all the bells and whistles, all type of shit.
Explosions.
But man, I'm talking about like tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars of shit that had to be put on stage. The nigga came in my dressing room after the 3rd show and like, what the fuck is going on? I'm tired of this shit. I got all this shit and all this money to pay for all this stage setup, and you out there with you and a goddamn DJ, and you keeping all the money to your fucking self. I can't take it. Why are you doing this to me? And I was like, nigga. Do you remember that shit? That nigga.
I remember that shit, yo. I remember that shit.
That I literally just had a DJ and a microphone. I had nothing else on stage. The nigga was mad as hell.
You still rocked it though. Still was rocking, yo.
Hell yeah. That's why he was pissed. He was like, man, I shouldn't have bought. He was like, I shouldn't have bought any of this shit, man. I shouldn't have bought nothing.
I Got Hoes.
Yeah.
I Got Hoes is definitely one of your iconic records, man. And then I've heard Indian motherfuckers say it, African, and it's funny as hell in different accents. But like, is that a Tupac background? Is that a Tupac influence record, or is just being in Atlanta? There's so much hoes. I don't know. What's the real background of that record?
That's a good ass question, man. Speaking of that, somebody told me I have the Tupac chain on. That's how young they are. That's ridiculous. It's herringbone. Yeah, I remember Tupac wearing it in the "I Get Around" video. So yeah, man, all praise, man. It's also something that people in the South wear, just so that you know, for a long time.
That's some old school South shit. Classic.
Absolutely.
That's like the New York. That's like the New Yorker wearing the dollar sign chain. Like we used to wear that shit back in the days.
Or the Jesus piece.
Yeah, the Jesus piece, like in the Bronx and shit like that, or Brooklyn. But that's classic. What you got?
Herringbone shit. But man, you know what? It's funny that you say that shit because I remember recording with Jazzy Faye, and I know that I came up with it because we have been touring everywhere. This is my first time really out of Atlanta, and we would always collect numbers, but we would never put their fucking names in the phones. So when we would go to another city, our phones would be ringing, and we'd be asking each other, "Yo, what's 510? Like, what's 305? What's so and so?" And so that's how hoes in different area codes came about. But I can't lie and say I wasn't influenced probably by the what was the Tupac song where he said the hoes everywhere I go I see the same yeah, that shit. I probably was subconsciously influenced by that when I made area codes 100%.
And of course, like you work with everybody. Is there anybody you're shocked anymore? You being a legend, do you get shocked working? I mean, everybody's friends and shit like that. I see you got the new single with Lil Wayne. Like, does that like? Is there like still like butterflies when you do songs, or is it just friendship? Like, what is it? Like you're back. You came back a million times. You're still kicking ass out there with music. People still respect you. So how are you doing it now? Like you don't even really need to do it because you have the key to Atlanta. You're in like, I was in like fucking Malaysia, and you're like every Fast and Furious is still getting bootlegged, you know, like